welcome to episode 76 of What the Devil. I'm your new host, Yusuf, joined in the chair next to me by Nick.
Come on.
On the other side, we've got Raf, and today we've got a very special guest. I think everybody knows who he is. If you've ever watched this podcast, you know who he is. It's Dylan.
It's me! Round of applause for Dylan.
Clap for yourself.
He started it himself as well.
I just did. Self-love's the best love. Like, after my last hosting masterclass, Dylan decided, you know what, at some point, Yusuf, I've just got to give you the keys. You know?
Man.
So, no, I'm joking. He's very kindly let me take over today. He wants to be a guest once. He wants that, like, you know, special VIP treatment. So
No responsibilities.
Mate, zero.
he's just chilling. Anyways, Manchester United are back, and we're losing again, unfortunately. But do you know what? It was better. We weren't losing with nothing to feel hopeful about. We had some reason to feel optimistic, at least. So, yeah, new season, back. And we've got a real opportunity to win against Fulham on Sunday. Now, they've not strengthened a lot this window. And given how much fitter we look, some of the improvements we saw against Arsenal, I feel like a lot of United fans, despite the result on the weekend, would be feeling quite confident. I think we could all agree with that, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling quite confident. So, looking ahead to Fulham, wanted to discuss what was good, but also what can be better. So, do you know what? I'm a very positive, never complaining guy. I will.
Nah, I don't know about that
He
one.
come on the podcast and just lied.
Yeah, literally. Straight out to your face.
He's come in and just immediately lied.
I will start by saying, do you know, Arsenal, there was a lot to really like. I thought the back line was absolutely brilliant. Cunha and Burmo looked really promising. I thought Mount had a very good performance. I think Ahmad came off the bench and did really well. And I feel like in a game against Fulham where we're expected to be, on top, he might get a start as well. So there was a lot to be positive about. Nick, talk to me.
There was a lot to be positive about. You know what? I was thinking about this before the game. Well, not before the game, sorry, after the game. I don't know whether I would have preferred, I want to know what you guys think. I don't know if I would have preferred, like, a 2-1 or 1-0 counter-attacking snatch and grab win, or do I prefer that performance, knowing that we dominated, created some chances, not enough, but some chances. We had a lot of shots, to be fair. I don't know which I would prefer, because obviously, if we had won on the transition, that is kind of going back to type with United. That's what we've done over the past 5 years, pretty much since Ole, even before that, since with Jose as well. So I don't know what I would have preferred if we had won transitional counter-attacking football or actually controlled the game, 60% possession, but just fallen short, considering it is an Arsenal side who are, competing for the title, have been competing for the title the last 2-3 years, defensively very good. What's better?
What I will say is I do feel Arsenal looked really unfit. They really didn't. I feel like we dominated, but I feel like them being bad did make us look a little bit better than it was, if you know what I mean. I said to be positive first, but come on, that wasn't going to happen.
Bit of that.
I do feel it was better. Not to say that we didn't make massive improvements, but I do feel like them really being off it, clearly still getting up to speed, did help us a little bit in that regard. Dylan, what were your takeaways?
From talking about kind of what I'd rather prefer, or just the Arsenal game in
Both.
general?
Yeah, both. Not your Chinese order when I say
I'm not
takeaways.
going to say that I would rather we had a 1-0 loss, a good performance versus a win, because I'm not going to say I'd rather lose than win. But I see it in two categories. Like, in the way of, obviously I'd like to win, but I remember saying before the game, my main priority in this Arsenal game, and it's kind of meh to say this as a United fan, the big mighty United with the high standards and this and that, but my main priority that game was I wanted to see us play a sustainable type of football for once in my goddamn life. Because so many times, as you've said, like, we finished third under Erik ten Hag, but we all knew that football couldn't continue because it was about Bruno Fernandes playing really well and Marcus Rashford scoring 30 goals across a season. Whereas today, on Sunday, I watched pretty much our whole squad, bar Altay Bayindi, or even Altay Bayindi to an extent, bar his mistake, put in a 7 out of 10 performance, at least. I would rather see, and that is something I haven't seen from United in a long time. But I want to see us do that every week. So like Nusayr Mazwari last season, everyone was like, yeah, his baseline was about 7 out of 10. Pretty much every single week, he was at least very good. And we need more of that. We've needed more of that for so long. Because we have players who will go on streaks of playing amazing games. Like Rasmus Højlund becomes the youngest player to score 6 Premier League games in a row, and then doesn't score for 14 league games. And stuff like that. And we can't keep having that. That's what we kept having. It could be Rashford, for example. going a full season, scoring 23 goals, then 21 goals, and then 4, and then 30, and then 7, and then 8. And it's like, we need someone who can just keep plugging away at the 6, 7, 8 out of 10 performances as a baseline, get our floor to that standard and go up. And that's what I feel is the best thing that happened in that Arsenal game, was that pretty much every player put in a performance that I would say is better than their counterpart that they were playing against with Arsenal.
Yeah, and I feel like the fitness point is really key to that, because part of the reason there's so much inconsistency is because we've been unfit for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Now, we looked fit, and also like constant injuries disrupts the rhythm of the team. I've been saying two of the most intrigued players I'm most intrigued to see this season are Mason Mount and Luke Shaw, because with this new fitness regime and stuff, I want to see, can they actually get a run of games to get, like, Shaw, can you give us one last season, bro? Mount, can you finally give us like 3 games in a row?
I'll try.
You know, or try, yeah. You know, I wanna like, it's not like I'm pinning our season. I'm just really intrigued to see with this new fitness regime, how did that affect them? Raf, what do you think?
You see, although look, if there's one thing I've learned about our club, you don't rely on Luke Shaw. Forget about it.
I'm not relying on him, don't worry.
And you know what? Already, I'm already thinking, as good as Mason Mount has been, both from pre-season and against Arsenal, don't even rely on him as well. I think the question that you asked there, Nick, even though I think we played really well on Sunday, I think it just shows how low our standards are now. And I think before going into the game, we would have preferred to win the game.
Yeah.
Rather than having a good performance. This is the sort of stuff that the Arsenal fans used to say, and would laugh at them for praising themselves for having a good performance but not winning. At the end of the day, we're not going to come up from 15th to top 4, top 6 just by good performances. So if we can't back it up over the next few weeks with some wins and not just good performances alone, then it means nothing. And I think in terms of the game on Sunday, yes, we had 22 shots? Yes, we had that many shots, but if you're looking at clear-cut chances,
That wasn't really.
that's what we need to really work on. Can we create clear-cut chances while still being able to control and dominate the midfield like we did against Arsenal? That's what I'm looking forward to see against Fulham on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think like this, actually going back to it, like we talk about maybe wanting to transition win, Arsenal, I think they realised about an hour in, do you know what, we're off it today, we're not physically at our best yet, let's just sit in a block, like see it out. And I think they knew, they did that because they knew United aren't going to break them down. Partly because, and I think they actually didn't defend in a block as well as they usually would. Like usually you don't get that many shots even if they do sit and really hold it tight. So it was really off it from Arsenal, but I think they knew we just can't break it down. So yeah, we're not creating clear-cut chances. I think the only big chances for us really, there was those runs from Mbeumo and Cunha in the first half where even though we didn't shoot from fantastic position, this is the run to get, you know, through them. And there was that Mbeumo header, which, to be honest, fantastic save from Raya. But I didn't really think we had any other massive chances. There was a few long shots, including that one from a certain someone in the 87th minute. Who gave that guy the right to shoot? Seriously. Do you know what's funny? I didn't even leave the ground. My friend messaged me. He was like, Ugarte's the worst player I've ever seen.
Bro, I screamed. I literally said this earlier, but I screamed at the TV, how dare you? Like, how dare you think Manuel Ugarte... Like, there's so many men on our team that I would rather shoot before him.
I'd rather Bayende shoot before him.
Bayende, Harry Maguire, De Ligt, there's bare man I'd rather shoot from there. But also, it's the 87th minute. You have man running, play the ball, bro.
Did you see the stance he was in after the shot? It was like, just get on one knee to like propose to someone.
Horrible. But
the funny thing is, well, Arsenal have now signed Eze because Havertz got injured. It's Ugarte who injured Havertz. So he's literally like...
You're welcome, Arsenal. You're welcome, Ben. You're welcome, Ben. You can have Eze. I just, with the shots thing, yes, we didn't create loads of chances, and like, I know online people were being like, like 0 big chances created, this and that. But I think we all agree we didn't have enough presence in the box against Arsenal, did we? There were times where no one was there, but we still had 15 shots in the box. Despite the fact that we didn't have anyone in the box, we still got 15 shots. And Šeško, so many times, I saw Dorgu on the left. He'd made a lovely overlap. Him and Cunha look good, by the way. Yeah. They look much more connected than Garnacho did with Dorgu at any point in the second half of last season. But if we then have a striker in the box who hopefully can be coached into and just naturally can finish off his dinner, I think there's so much potential from that Arsenal game. You can see just a couple of key differences and changes, which will come once the players are more fit, when Šeško's starting, once there's a bit more time on the training field to continue bonding. Because at times, for example, Ahmad and Mbumo would make the same run at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas there's times where you go, Ahmad, you should be watching for when Mbumo goes in, so you can then go out. Because then Mbumo will feed the ball to you, and then you can cross it in. And it's times like I think they're both still thinking like attackers.
Yeah, and I think they think that they're the guy as well.
And I just think a couple of key changes like that, which will come, Šeško will start, Ahmad will learn. We can really quickly go from here to there over the next month or so. And we had that good momentum in pre-season. And if we can break down a team like Fulham, so after playing like that against Arsenal, well, the Arsenal game was quite blow for blow, right? It was quite like kind of, they attack, we attack, they attack, we attack.
But also, we
It
sustained pressure more than them as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing is if we can then do that against a side like Arsenal, and then also when we play Fulham, who are going to sit back, they've not improved. I don't even know if they made a single signing this summer. They might, or maybe they've made a couple.
Not a big one.
Nothing substantial. And then they're going to sit back and they're going to look to play on the counter with Iwobi, etc. So if we can then show that we can also break down a block like that, be that with our 6'5" striker up front, or be that with Cunha just causing havoc on the left-hand side, or be that with Mbumo's efficiency. If we can show that we can play like that against Arsenal and also break down someone like Fulham, we can play against different types of teams, which was the failures of last season, was we didn't play differently against different types of opposition.
I think, I was just saying that, can we still create clear-cut chances whilst dominating the midfield? And the reason why I said that is because of what you just said. I don't think it's as simple as we put in a striker like Šeško and then we can create chances while still dominating, because we have to remember the work of Mason Mount. If Šeško comes in, realistically, it's going to be Mason Mount to come out the team, right? And the reason why I feel as though we didn't have much of a presence in the box against Arsenal is because of all that good work that Mason Mount was doing in the midfield. So by the time he then maybe won the ball back and fed Cunha or Mbumo on the wings, he's too late to get into the box. It happened quite a few times on Sunday. And I feel as though, all right, we put Šeško in, good, yeah, more of a presence in the box. But then what about that work in the midfield? We end up back to where we were last season.
Mount wasn't playing up front. It was Cunha.
They were rotating.
So to be
fair,
so this was one thing I wanted to highlight. So interesting. So obviously one of the concerns I highlighted about I had some concerns with Cunha. One of the reasons concerns was out of possession. Now I think Amorim accommodated him a bit out of possession what we did against Arsenal, because out of possession. So when we were pressing high, right, Cunha was almost as like a 10 with Mount and Mbumo ahead of him as split strikers. And then when they crossed into our half, specifically into our third, Mount and Mbumo would drop behind Cunha, and Cunha would be the furthest player forward. So he Cunha did do work out of possession, but Amorim did kind of minimise it for him a little bit. So Mount was really key in that aspect. And obviously we just know like how much he does out of possession. Now, personally, I think the attack would function better if you put Mount in the midfield and Bruno in the front three and one of the 10-roles. I feel like both players would be better off, and I thought that team would function a bit more smoothly in that sense.
Then Bruno also doesn't lose the ball in our box to give away the corner that led to the goal.
That was honestly quite poor.
Hear me out, yeah. With games like that where you want an extra body in midfield, like a Mount was in there, but you don't want to sacrifice it for your focal point striker. Say against Fulham, right? We're expecting to keep most of the ball. We're expecting to hopefully sustain pressure. And I don't think Amorim would do this, and I think that we need to find an ideal candidate for this role. But that middle centre-back role, who steps up so much, we even saw it in build-up, they were basically next to Casemiro. It was basically like two centre-backs, just two full-backs, and then De Ligt was next to Casemiro in midfield. Is there, could you have some games where you have that Casemiro-type player playing as the middle centre-back? Because he can do a job there when you're defending, but because you're expecting to have 60 to 65% possession in those games, you put Casemiro in that middle centre-back role with the expectation that for the most part of the game, he's going to be in midfield anyway.
I think it depends on the striker we're playing against, because I feel, for example, a striker like Haaland,
you can't do that.
I wouldn't want Casemiro in the
No.
But you know what? Against Haaland, whoever you put, you're going to struggle.
No, against a Haaland, you don't want to do that. That's not. You need De Ligt.
I know what you mean, yeah. I feel like, De Ligt's like one who could probably handle it. But do you know what? I've been saying, since Amorim wants to do this, centre-back into midfield thing, it'd work best with Casemiro because even though De Ligt did it well on Sunday, it's just not natural.
Yeah, it's not.
And this is the thing, like how we break blocks is more than anything, in my opinion, going to be about how we platform the players. In my opinion, they've not been platformed well enough. I feel like if we've got quality to break blocks down now, like Fernandes, we know, is like probably the best creator in the league. And Burma, we know he can create. Cunha, we know he can create. Ahmad, we know he can create. We know these players can create. Now, how much of a focal point Sesko is actually going to be, how effective he's going to be as that, I've got very, very big questions. But, you know, even Casemiro can create as well. We've seen that. How Amorim platforms the players to do it is going to be the main thing.
Well, one thing I will say about the build-up, though, I noticed it straight away in pre-season. I've noticed it against Arsenal as well. Everything happens quicker.
Yeah.
It's far more quicker and it's far more vertical as well. It's less passes going to the fullback, coming back to the centre-back, fullback, centre-back, and it's a lot more direct. Like one thing, and I said this before the show as well, Bayindia, I know he had a howler with the corner, but he played a lot of passes vertically into midfield. Now
there was one that way he split them. Like really well.
And he played it into Bruno. I think. Yeah.
It's risky,
so
but
it's risky, but if it works, it's good. And Onana, right? Like I know how everyone feels about Onana, but could you get a little something out of him on the ball with that? Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know.
I think with Onana, because there's obviously so much discourse, and Christ, he was horrendous last season. And I never want to see something like that again, and I don't trust him at all, right? Well, I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him if our goal's being peppered, I'm behind the sofa. I'm genuinely behind that sofa.
It's a long day.
But with Onana, you can mitigate and you can minimise so many of the risks he poses by having more of the ball. Because he faces less shots, which means that he actually has less chance to make an error. But he can do some of the stuff you're talking about. But what Amorim needs to do is to stop telling him to just absolutely hoof it long all the time.
This is the thing last season that I didn't get.
It's what we kept doing.
Yeah, last season, we had, like, the thing is, he said about clearing the space of the goalkeeper. We saw a bit more of that against Arsenal, but we saw, like, all we saw last season was like a driving range.
I think he just didn't trust them, you know?
Not at that stage, yeah.
Not at that stage,
I think like, if Onana comes back in, he will trust him.
Do you know what, though? Even if you don't trust me, in my opinion, we were losing games regardless. It would have been better, try and fail. Try it and fail, because what we were doing was failing regardless. So
I feel like it was do you remember like the Ten Hag, like when he first came, he tried it with the whole passing at the back and he said, nah, I can't bother for this.
He sat down after about 120 minutes.
Two games, Brentford and Brighton, he said, yeah, no, I'm not doing this
even
anymore.
Then he like put measures in place where he could start implementing things, even if he adapted it to kind of get results. It was like a kind of, he met in the middle a little bit rather than went fully like, okay, here we go. If you know what I mean.
I would want Onana to come back in against Fulham, though.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
100%.
People have dragged it with the whole Heaton and Bayindia better than him. Let's be honest. He's not the best keeper in the world by far, but come on, let's just have a consistent keeper. Try not to make it as much of a discussion point if we're not going to sign one, and just move forward. And hopefully,
it's
Onana
been
gets
so
some
obviously
good form.
known that we're not going to sign a keeper for ages. I don't know what, for better or for worse. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do, but it's been so obvious for so long that we're not signing keepers. I don't know why everyone keeps banging on about it.
As soon as Onana got injured during pre-season, it was done, because the only way you're going to bring in a first-choice goalkeeper is if you sell Onana, and we couldn't sell Onana. And this whole discussion of, would you rather bring in a midfielder or a goalkeeper, I think it's so clearly a midfielder.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even close.
On the midfield, back to talk about platform plays, breaking blocks, one of the big ways to build up everything. One of the key things about that, having a midfielder who can take the ball, turn on it, keep it, like really play really well with it, and that's where I want to move on to our next topic. I feel like it's the elephant in the room here. We got to talk about Kobbie Mainoo, because, look, for me, all right, that decision to not bring him on, to bring Ugarte on over him, was pathetic, cowardly. In a lot of ways, it could have cost us. Like, and I'm not just doing this to get on Amorim's back. I honestly just I was genuinely disgusted about that decision. As a fan, I was genuinely disgusted by the decision to leave Mainoo on the bench entirely. Like, first to bring on Ugarte and then bring on Harry Maguire to replace De Ligt. No, sorry, not De Ligt. He brought to replace Luke Shaw and play him in defence. He didn't even do the big goal up front thing for about 10 minutes. Like, I just didn't like it whatsoever. Like, what are you doing? Seriously, at that point, we've pressures on Arsenal. Someone like Mainoo can do something with that, because we know the quality he has in possession. Someone like Ugarte cannot. And then there's this stupid excuse I'm getting from people, like he wants a like-for-like replacement for Casemiro. Ugate's, defending. Ugarte cannot defend. Mainoo is a better defender than Ugarte is. Mainoo is a better. I'm gonna say Mainoo's a better defender than Ugarte is. He can't run in big spaces as much, but Ugarte chases everything like a headless chicken. His timing's really off. He's really bad in his duels. Mainoo has like that positional sense, right? He's smart. He dominates his duels. His tackling technique, his timing is very good. Yes, he struggles on a big space, but we had them like pinned anyways. Bring on the guy who can make something happen with his ability in possession.
I was disappointed not to see Mainoo at all as well, and I've said this in previous shows as well, that I do worry about Mainoo's development in this team in general, because I don't think he's a two-man midfield kind of player. I think he is a three-man midfield player. But the one thing I will say in defence of that decision is, you brought on Ahmad, so essentially, he's a right winger at that point. You brought on Harry Maguire, who obviously he was brought in to get in the box and try, salvage something, right? So I understand to a point where...
The thing is, Maguire came on afterwards, though.
I know, but still, maybe his plan was in general to bring in Harry. At some point, Harry Maguire was there, and at some point, he was kind of a second striker. And so, if you bring on Kobe, and you leave us completely exposed in the midfield, and they go and counter with Havertz linking up with Saka and Noni Madueke, then we're calling him for being an idiot and bringing on Mainoo and leaving us completely exposed in midfield. So I think there's two parts in it. I am disappointed not to see Mainoo, because I think he's a game winner in that sense.
The thing is, though, does Ugarte actually stop the transition?
It
even
helps,
if you throw Maguire, you've got Casemiro
well.
You've got Casemiro. When was the last time Ugarte played well?
In pre-season, I thought he had.
To be fair,
games
I think there was one game. Yeah,
he played very well. I think against Arsenal, we actually really nullified their midfield. And we played with, obviously, a 6 and an 8. That's something that we've seen that Amorim wants to do in that midfield. So it's either you're taking off Bruno and you're putting Kobe in that position, or you're taking off Cunha and Mbeumo, who are both having good games.
Took off Casemiro, to be fair, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. He was the player that, Casemiro had to come off for Ugarte. It's more of a... I know you said it's a stupid argument. Now I'm going to make the same stupid argument, but... I think we still needed a like-for-like replacement. It wasn't like we're facing Crystal Palace or something like that. We're facing Arsenal. It was only 1-0 down. If we lose control of that midfield, that game can easily turn into 2-0.
You're more likely to want to do that if you're winning, not if you're losing. If you're winning, you're like, okay, I need fresh legs to defend in midfield, but we were 1-0 down.
But he made risks. He made risks. I know. He took risks.
With Mainoo, I say this all the time, and I know I can't back it up with evidence.
I agree with you on this, by the way. I agree with you about saying.
I'm fully convinced that Kobe Mainoo is good enough that he will play his way into this team.
Yeah.
I just think it will happen. Because like you say, he's not a two-man midfielder. Probably, he might play his best football as a three-man midfield or whatever, this and that. But it's not like suddenly you got two-man midfield and then suddenly Kobe Mainoo turns into cheese.
He's still
a fantastic footballer.
No, I know, but what my point is with that is we will never see the potential that we thought we would see when he burst on the scene at United, when he started for England in the Euros final. The ceiling we had for him there, I don't think you'll ever see that ceiling in a two-man midfield.
Do you know that
if you get a Baleba next to him, and you can have that nice combination of Baleba and Kobe, he can still get somewhere near it, but he will never be that guy that we spoke about.
Because there's less security around him.
Because there's less security, he can't get forward in the same way. Those goals against Wolves, against Lyon, I know against Lyon he came on as a 10, but the goal against Liverpool,
tight.
We are not going to see those moments from Kobe in a two-man midfield.
I have a theory that I want to put in. So we've been talking about Cunha, and he was playing up front versus Mount and etc. Blah, blah, blah. Cunha seems to like to start about 10 feet deeper than most of the other people, right? And we've been going on about how there's a big gap in midfield all the time, like the two-man midfield. So I think the best example of it and the whole gap being a major issue was against Newcastle when we lost 2-0, when it was Eriksen and Casemiro as the two deeper players, and both of them just got ripped through because there was so much space. If Cunha is naturally starting deeper to get the ball, turn his man, which he just seems to love doing all the time, and he's so good at it, receiving the ball and turning his man in one touch. If he's deeper, he basically becomes a hybrid midfielder almost when we're starting to build up in possession. And I just feel like Cunha, because Mbeumo I think he likes to stay further up and receive the ball, running onto the ball. Amorim said in multiple press conferences and talking about Šeško that he said, I want Šeško to work less hard than he did at Leipzig. He wants Šeško up on that top line, and it didn't work against Arsenal. He was obviously, if he's right on their defensive line, it's Gabriel and Saliba. Not many people will be able to handle those two, and shockingly, the two of the best centre-backs in the league marshalled him kind of well, but Šeško still had his moments where he got on the ball, some good flicks, some good layoffs, and all things like that. But I genuinely think if Cunha's on the left when Šeško is starting and Mbeumo is starting, if you have Cunha starting slightly deeper where he likes to be, there is less space and need to cover and stuff in the midfield for the other two.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think benefits someone like Kobbie Mainoo.
No,
but I don't understand why Amorim hasn't even had a look at starting Mainoo alongside Bruno.
Do you know the funny thing is his best result, the 4-0 against Everton, came with Mainoo and Casemiro in that two-man midfield.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's like, sorry, Raf, I'm just going to quickly monologue. We've not been on the pod together, so, I do this a lot. I'll let you in a sec. So, I don't think Mainoo, I think he's best in a three-man midfield, but I don't think he turns into a goldfish out of water, in a two-man midfield. So, especially given we had them pinned in, pressed, they were happy to sit in at that point. We were dominating the ball. It was a bit slower, but Mainoo, we have to remember, this kid, he actually came through. We talk about when he first broke out. His first start for us was at the 6 against Everton in a really, really intense Goodison Park game, given, they just got the point deduction. He looked like the calmest player on the pitch. That season, he played at the 6 a lot of times for Erik ten Hag in a team where they were covering loads of space. Opposition. I'm seeing people in the comments say, he doesn't press, he doesn't run. Okay, firstly, that's just not true, all right? This idea he doesn't defend or can't defend is not true. Is he the best defender in massive spaces like a
Can I
Declan?
just add to that with a stat? When we played Fulham first game last season, I think he won 13 of 13 duels.
Exactly.
Playing as a DM a lot. I can't remember who's alongside, but just to add to that with stats.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he was he's not like Declan Rice or Amadou Onana in that he's going to cover massive spaces, but they're rare players. It's not that often you find a player who covers such big spaces so well. But like I said, his timing, his tackling technique, when he knows when to jump for the press, really good. He dominates his duels, the stats back it up. But you see with your eyes, he's strong. He shoves everyone off the ball. He's a really, really strong kid. He's quite positionally intelligent. He knows where to be. So when you talk about running,
he isn't though.
You don't need don't need to run as much if you know where to position yourself.
No, I know, but he's not strong like that though. Like if he comes up against an Amadou Onana, if he comes up against a Declan Rice, which if he plays in that position, he will. He's not that strong.
No, but we've seen him come up against them and be strong though. I don't entirely agree.
He's not totally weak, but he's not as strong as the people that he's going to come up against.
I've actually seen him hold these guys off though. In games we've seen this guy boss it against Klopp's Liverpool. We've seen this guy boss it in the FA Cup final against Man City. He embarrassed Rodri. Rodri, Ballon d'Or winner. He got completely played off the park by Mainoo in that game.
But I think you're missing, Yusuf, that the problem is also more when we don't have the ball, when we've lost the ball in the final third and the transition. You've seen videos of him doing well against Liverpool, but there's also videos where it looks like he's blowing. He's chasing back, and he looks really
Who did we have in the final third when we were playing those games?
Yeah,
and
of course,
also,
we're going to lose the ball
kept
less.
losing the ball. It was Garnacho who had a 17%.
That's true, but
we're still
with
gonna lose the
Bruno
ball
and
at some point.
Cunha, we're still going to lose the ball. And also, I feel as though the difference is when you have Bruno in that 8 instead of Kobbie, Bruno plays sort of like a deep lying playmaker, so he's not as high up the pitch as you would want Kobbie to be if you want him to use all these attributes like his ball carrying and getting into the box at the right times. So that's why it works with Bruno and Casemiro. They can both kind of play deeper. Once you've got Kobbie, if you're asking him to play deep, you're losing his ability on the ball. If you tell him to go further forward, then we're open on the transition.
I don't agree. I think Kobbie's actually in our first phase, especially, is better than Fernandes. I think Fernandes has the passing range, but
what do you mean, in build-up?
Yeah, in build-up.
So, for example, Onana passing it through to Kobbie Mainoo, so Kobbie Mainoo's receiving the ball and turning.
Kobbie does not have it in him to dictate a game yet at this stage. He might get that in the future.
Kobbie can drive the ball forward.
The thing is, he connects the play in between the phases and in the phases so well. Genuinely, he's good at all phases.
Yeah, but you know what it is though. Back to what Raf was saying though. I agree because what you said about Cunha dropping in deep to pick it up and link, that's where Kobbie's best position is. That furthest forward midfielder with 2 men behind him, that's where Kobbie's really going to thrive. That's where we saw the goals against Wolves, the goal against Liverpool, and if we lose it, like Raf said, you don't want him running back.
No, do
He's
you know
not
what,
got it, bro.
I don't
He's
actually
not
think-
really a runner. Like,
No.
I
So-
actually think he's more of that second midfielder. I feel like if you have the 6, Mainoo, and the 10, that's perfect. Like even in the Euros for England, let's say, for example, you had Rice, Mainoo, and then Bellingham was the one pushing up.
Yeah, in a three-man midfield.
In a three-man midfield, but then what I'm saying,
he
even in a
needs someone
two-man
either.
midfield.
He needs either one man next to him and one man behind him, or 2 men behind him.
True. But either way, all right, with
One
this,
man next
with
to him
the
is not
midfield,
enough.
okay, we are like, we need a goal, all right. We've gotten pinned in. Do you rather bring on the guy who has very little quality in possession and actually doesn't really provide much value defending transitions either? Like, let's be honest, Ugarte is not a good big space defender. I feel like people like to convince themselves he is to justify it. He's not. Right?
I think it's because that's what we thought we were signing, innit? Like when we brought in
Yeah.
Agate, we thought we were getting that sort of
can
all
go
action,
everywhere.
cover
Yeah,
ground,
you've got a lot of
and
Kante just
he's
there
not
all the
that
time,
at
yeah.
all. He's awful, is what he is. I'm not gonna lie. He's
Mainoo, like, I trust Mainoo to defend transitions more than I trust Ugarte to defend transitions.
I don't know about
But
that.
two things
I don't
can
know
be
about
correct though, right? Like, surely, I agree, Ugarte should not have come on. I was not happy for him to come on. But also, I just felt as though there was no one for Kobe to come on for. I would have taken off Brian Mbeumo. You would have taken off?
I'd have brought him on for Casemiro because you know what? Like
that's what
we've got them pinned in. You know,
But for specifically
use
that
his
game, he's
quality
still
on the
Is-
ball.
is
Now
there an
you've got to
argument,
think about
yeah?
the game state.
Is there an argument where in that moment you brought on Harry Maguire for Luke Shaw? Why don't you bring on Kobe Mainoo for Luke Shaw? Casemiro can sit back a little bit because you basically brought on Agate
That's a
to
great
sit
shout.
back and sweep. So why not ask Casemiro to sit back and sweep? And rather than having Harry Maguire in the box for headers, you have Kobe Mainoo on the edge of the box, bopping it about and doing what he does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you could've done something like
I
that.
also think, to a certain extent, guys, this was one decision. On
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
we're not
game
gonna
of the
overthink
season.
it, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's because I think in general there has been a lot of discourse about this one incorrect decision from Amorim.
But everything else
But at the same-
was really good. That's
Yeah.
the thing to focus. Yeah,
Yeah, I do think there is a certain amount of, I hope and I believe that Amorim will be privately sat there going, dunno, and like probably a bad idea to have done that or the wrong decision to have done that, especially when Amorim is someone who's so adamant on his players making the right decisions. And Ugarte came on and made incorrect decisions, and I'm sure Amorim would have sat there because what was it in pre-season? It came on like, it says something along the lines of like Amorim, when players make mistakes, he sits down and shows them their mistakes, like on video and stuff like that. He might be sat there with Mainoo Ugarte, putting it on screen and going,
Why did you shoot?
What the fuck is this?
Why did you
He probably
shoot?
is. He's probably sat there in front of, like, zoomed in on Ugarte, that position where he's like hitting like this or something, and then he'll be going, what the fuck is this? Because he'll then highlight Ahmad, and he'll highlight Mbeumo when they're both running in, and he'll also say to Ahmad, he'll go, don't make the same run as Mbeumo, let Mbeumo go forwards, and then curve and go outside.
Yeah.
Because Ahmad would have the entire right side of the pitch if he'd done that.
I think it's more so like the discourse is more so because it's Kobe. And we just
Yeah, I know
want Kobe
that,
to
yeah.
do
I
well.
do- I do
and
know
so
that.
like not seeing him was so disappointing. So I get that
yeah.
side of it.
But you know,
yeah.
like, just generally, you need quality in possession to break the block down, right? Kobe brings that quality in possession, and in general, I want to see it used more. I'm not one of these people who says like Kobe needs to worry about his future, but I think people take it too far. But like, I do want to see him used more. And you know, actually, back to the point quickly just about defending transitions. Last season, he wasn't entirely fit. He looked like he bulked up a little bit, and players in general weren't fit. Then he got injured and just never got back into rhythm. He looks fitter over pre-season.
Mainoo was injured for every single one of our key points last season under Amorim. When Amorim was assessing his squad for the first time, Mainoo was out for 6 weeks. Mainoo came back and then got injured again. And when Mainoo was injured for that second time, that was when Amorim was figuring out his starting 11 for the Europa League final. And then he came back again and he was on the bench because Amorim had decided on Casemiro.
He had a very stop-start season in general.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He
It's
did.
hard-
Which
it's
is
hard to build
which is
rhythm.
why I'm still completely convinced that the best version of Kobe Mainoo, like in terms of being fit, being ready, and being like he looks stronger, but he looks very lean, will play his way into the team.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
just think like
that's what I think will happen.
I'd rather see. I've said sometimes I'd rather see. I always want to see bravery from a Man United team. The bare we're debating at the start about would we have rather won the game or played better. I want to see bravery. No matter what, I want to see bravery, and I didn't feel that was brave to bring on Ugarte over Mainoo. I feel like bringing on Mainoo could have got us a point. you know, in terms of his quality, helping to break them. I'm not saying Mainoo's going to come on and score or whatever. I'm saying we're more likely to get something from that game. If you bring on Mainoo, you've got someone who can break that block. And even let's say Mainoo gets the ball in that situation, 30 yards from goal, where Ugate's, you know, all right. Mainoo he'll carry it forward. He'll find someone. In my opinion, Ugarte he found someone in the crowd, but like, you know.
You know what? I think with Kobe, a massive sticking point with Kobe, whether he is a success or not at United, is going to be that middle centre back. Whoever the next guy we sign to be that middle centre back, how comfortable that middle centre back is stepping into midfield.
I think Aiden Heaven's
is so important.
Not
Not as a middle centre back.
No, to be fair, on the note of
Aiden
De
Heaven on the
Ligt,
left.
this is perfectly taking us on to our next topic. De Ligt, in my opinion, was a monster on Sunday. He completely destroyed Gyok Lesnar. Completely destroyed him. Like, okay, Bane
Jim Chakarez.
got done. All right.
Apart from one moment.
There was. Do you know what the thing is?
Even
The thing is,
Yeah,
De Ligt, he was mid-slide.
Chakarez is a bodybuilder, man. Of course he was.
He was
body anyone in that.
He was mid-slide. So it's
Yeah.
like he was mid-slide. He had the momentum, and then Gyok was on his feet, knocked into him. But
Our whole back line
De
was
Ligt
so good
was
that game.
fantastic,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I
mate.
feel like Dylan, you and I have both said this a few times, that he's so underrated by our fans in general.
Such a good defender.
I think he's a brilliant player. He's arguably our surprise season. But this is where I just want to have a bit of fun to end of the podcast. Like, what are some of like our surprise predictions for the season? Like, you know, we can consider this a real life version of Carl Anker's, you know, hot take thing every single year.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat as well. We'll read some.
Put it in the chat. We want to get this. And everyone drop a like as well.
So I do love De Ligt, but my hot take, and I've been saying this everywhere, anytime I've been asked this, is my hot take this. It might not be overly hot for United fans, but I think for other fans it is. It's that Lenny Yoro is going to be in the running for Young Player of the Year in the Premier League this season.
I don't think that's hot, to be honest.
It's not for us because we know how good this kid is.
But for everyone else.
But for everyone else, they go Lenny Yoro, the guy that started in December and just got slid. What was the guy's name? The Southampton player who just like done him in like 12 times in a game. That's what everyone thinks about coming in at the moment because no one watched United in the second half of last season.
Bro, we left him 1v1 like 9 times.
Yeah,
we left him 1v1 like 9 times.
Exactly, but that's all everyone ever saw. But genuinely, I reckon Lenny Yoro, Young Player of the Year, in the running for it. Not saying he's going to win it, but he's going to be in the running for it. He's going to be in that PFA list. He's going to be on that fans list. He's going to be on all those lists. 100%.
I would say my hot takes are, I reckon Diogo Dalot and Bruno Fernandes get phased out of the team.
Ooh, that's a very hot one.
Big one.
That's a
Diogo
big,
Dalot I
big
can
one.
get, but Bruno
Fernandes.
I think it's possible. Like, if Ruben Amorim is being fair, and if we are being fair as well, because there's certain things that Bruno does that I think we ignore because he's our captain and we love Bruno. The mistake for the corner that was conceded, and the way he looked around and tried to blame Euro, I'm not having that.
I've got something interesting to further on from that. And who has Ruben Amorim been describing as Bruno Fernandes' competition for the season?
Kobe.
Yeah, no, and I think it could happen that Bruno gets dropped or something. I'm not saying it'll happen straight away, and I'm not saying that means he'll be gone by January or anything like that, but I think us, even as a fan base, will start to say, you know what, let's put Kobe there instead of Bruno.
Do you know what it is?
I love Bruno.
I love him so
but
much.
really, he's an awkward one in that.
I still
I know,
personally
I know.
think
If I'm
Bruno's
being
best in a 10.
Yeah,
I still
of
don't
course.
think he's a natural in
Nah,
that
he's
8 role.
not.
I feel like he plays there because that passing range is so good.
But also
And it
because you
helps
have to
a
get
lot.
him in the team. Like, that is
little
what it
bit.
is as well.
Now,
You bought Cunha, you bought
I
him, you have to start.
personally think that the best way to set up against Fulham on Sunday would to have Mbeumo as your striker and Cunha and Bruno as your 10s, then play Mount or Kobe in the midfield alongside Casemiro. I personally think that team is much more likely to break down Fulham.
I know, but I want to centre forward in that, man.
You know what is so refreshing about this conversation is that we're actually arguing about players starting in different positions again. We finally have some options. Genuinely, it's so refreshing to be able to go, oh, Mount did well, oh, but so did Cunha, so where does this guy go? So where does this guy? So where does this guy go? I know we haven't got Europe this year, which does fuel these arguments a bit of we are playing one game a week, so it's going to be hard for players to get in and out of the team. But it's so nice and refreshing to actually have an argument about who starts where.
I had a comment. Up the Villa. Good afternoon. I'm offering United fans a lifeline before it's too late. Come support Villa. Leave the sinking ship before it's too late.
I'm
good, buddy.
Villa.
I'm good, buddy.
man.
Dylan, Loki has us made like a Berners Trollos, but
Bro, yeah.
You know what? Villa fan.
I'm good, boys.
Villa.
Hold on. Villa fan in the chat. In the chat. Should I captain Ollie Watkins against Brentford this week, FPL?
I've got Saka's captain.
Who's you against who?
Against Brentford away.
I
Brentford stink.
I might
Yeah.
captain Gyökeres against Leeds.
Nah, not after that.
After that game he stomped by his Leeds. Like,
Yeah.
I'm low-key feeling
But
it.
no, I think De Ligt is another one where he's so in the category of just everyone's gonna go, oh, hold on. Because even to be fair, I got this wrong. When I was doing my you watch like 3-4 pre-season games and you go, okay, who do you think Amorim's going to be picking for start of the season, like first game of the season? I said he'd probably pick Harry Maguire because De Ligt didn't really look up to it during pre-season. He had games where he looked a bit faltery here and there, and even to a certain extent, I know there's some discourse around it when Cunha did look a little iffy at points in pre-season, even against Fiorentina and stuff. But both him and De Ligt just stormers against Arsenal.
Do you know what I
was
will say?
Colossal.
Do you know what I'll say about Cunha? I was critical of the signing at the time. Now, I stand by my reasons for not liking it so much, but you know what? I enjoyed watching him on Sunday, and I left thinking, do you know what? Sometimes I need to enjoy football a little bit more. I know, like, I get so caught up in trying to...
Yusuf?
I'm not saying I'm wrong. What I'm saying is, all right, sometimes I need to be a little bit more of a fan.
That sounds like you're saying I was wrong.
Stop being an analyst.
It's like, I
That sounds like
still, I genuinely stand by all my reasons for it, but I think that maybe, like, just not enjoy the idea that we have a fun player to watch. And Dylan, you said to me at the time, look, you can have your reasons for not liking it, that's all fair, but, like, we have a good player.
He's a maverick.
Enjoy it. Like,
Yeah, man.
I feel like I just need to, I will say, I'll be honest, I need to, not that I was wrong, but, like, we'll see about that, but, like, I hope I'm wrong, but I do need to enjoy the football a little bit more sometimes.
It's like, and the best thing about the Cunha performance is just he did it all with 35 touches. He played 90, he only had 30, he did a touch every 3 minutes, and everyone's going, wow, that guy.
Every single time he gets the ball.
35 touches. That was it, because every single touch of the ball was forward or fun or interesting. And the fact that he took on 6 Arsenal players arguing when Ben White was down. No one even went to back him up or anything. He was just there, I like it.
Listen,
I just like it.
Listen, that little flick. You see that little touch
Yeah.
where he took it out of the sky on the flick
Yeah, that
and
was
left
insane,
Ben
I can't
White
lie.
in his rear view
was
mirror.
insane.
Chat to me, Mateus Cunha.
Once the
I want to
highlights-
see more of that.
Mate,
Once the
it's-
highlights went on YouTube, I was like, yeah, watching that game.
Yeah.
It was,
That
it
little
was
flick
fun. And
was
then he carries it 50 metres and
Yeah.
then passes
Passes
it
it to
across the
Mbeumo.
box to Mbeumo. Oh,
Yeah, that was
I can't
that
wait for his
flick.
first goal, man.
Yeah, do you know, I think
can't
for the
wait
game,
for his first goal.
when we were talking in the chat about how I said I'd start Cunha up front because there's an ability to manipulate pressure from behind. That's what I was talking about, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
he's got a
man.
man on his back,
It's just-
ball's coming into him. He just finds, he's very good handling contact. He finds really innovative ways to beat players. That's one thing I do really, really rate
And he
about
wants
him.
it's like this
He's brave.
the transfer, the glory, all of this, and he wants it so badly as well.
yeah.
You
You know
can
what?
hear it and you can feel it and you can see it.
That's my hot take because I've been thinking about a hot take. I didn't really
Yeah,
have
go on.
one. My hot take is twofold. Cunha becomes our Bruno, like in terms of like creatively, like a lot going through him and like him making things tick and making things happen. The second one is Cunha gets nominated for PFA Player of the Year.
Ooh, interesting one. That's
If
a
we,
hot
to be
one.
fair, if
We'll
we
have to have a
finish,
good season.
if we
Very,
if
very
we
good
end up
season.
top 5 and then Cunha's at like 10-10 in the league,
Do you know what I mean?
but like he's one of the players I feel like all of his goals are going to be either goals to get us an equaliser or get us ahead in the game.
Hopefully.
That just Mbeumo will just tick, he'll score, he'll assist, he'll score, he'll assist,
Yeah.
he'll
Like
just
a
do
machine.
But I feel like Cunha's gonna every time we need someone to grab that. It's like Ronaldo when he
Step
came
up.
back for one season. It's like every goal of his was either an equaliser or gets in the lead or is like yeah.
And that was Bruno in the first 2 years at United
Yeah, exactly.
as well.
Like that just feels like who Cunha is.
Yeah, guy that really drags it.
Love
So,
it.
yeah, either way, do you know what? We've not done this in a while.
Yeah.
Refreshing. Fulham predictions.
Ooh.
We've not done this in a while. Well, we probably did it last week, but I wasn't here, so...
I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go
Yeah?
bold. And it's mad that this is bold, but this is where we're at with United. I'm going to go 3-0 United.
Ooh. Dylan?
The same.
Same.
I think 3-0 United. I think Šeško's going to score.
Oi.
I think Cunha's going to score. And I think Mbeumo's going to get a lovely assist.
Okay.
Not just an assist, but a lovely assist.
Lovely assist.
You know what? I'm going to say Mbeumo assists Šeško.
He does put in a lot of crosses.
That's what I'm saying. Mbeumo
Puts
assists
in a lot of
Šeško.
crosses.
And Dorgu plays well as well.
Graf?
I'm going to be that guy.
No.
I think we're going to
1-0.
break our streak at Craven
What
Cottage.
streak? We lost last week.
Winning, no, at
No, Craven Cottage.
Oh, Craven Cottage.
Yeah,
sorry.
We won
playing
3
at
years on the
Fulham.
bounce.
Yeah, 3 years in a row. I reckon we draw this on 1-1. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
Raph,
I
you're
know.
no fun.
Yeah.
It's the
you
summer
know what?
holidays, man.
Do you know
Yeah,
what? Do you know what? I'm actually not confident either because I still don't trust against blocks. Fulham are quite weak, but I've never predicted us to lose because I think we will scrape a 2-1. I think Mbermo scores, and I think Bruno scores.
Are we saying yet another last-minute winner?
Yeah,
we had like Garnacho, we had
think
Bruno.
I think what happened, and Burma will score. We'll, first half, early second half, he'll score like, really nice goal. We'll concede something really stupid, like kind of, 70-something a
A
minute.
Luke Shaw own goal or something.
90 plus 1, Fernandez just like, he does it again. Everyone's like, new players, same Bruno, like something like that. Peter Drury will pull it out. I'm going to say 2-1.
I needed to be sat where Raf is, and Raf should have been here so that we could have just been stupidly optimistic on that so far.
Yeah.
And they can bring us down to earth. Yeah, they can bring us down to earth.
I said
and be
we'll win.
realistic. No, I know. I'm playing.
Lads, thank you very much for tuning in. If you want Dylan permanently booted off host, then say in the
dare
comments.
you.
No, this is part of my farewell tour for the podcast. I get to host. I will, unfortunately, there's a thing called employment that I'm going to be commencing soon. So I will not be able to give up my Thursdays. It's been an absolute pleasure. But next week, let's see you. And here's hoping we have something positive to talk about. For now, goodbye.